Ladies and gentlemen, hmm, how do we do this? How do we do this? I think this is how we do it. Welcome back to the CNT podcast. My name is Tommy Terrio, and I am here with
Eli Burns again.
there it is. Eli, thank you as always for coming back on. Appreciate having you.
Anytime.
So let's get into this. We got best players not in the Hall of Fame right now.
Let's do it.
As of April 24th, 2023, these are the players currently not in the MLB Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Where do we start?
I think we have to get the big thing out of the way first.
Pete Rose.
That's two. I think we have to talk about steroids first.
Oh, yeah.
What do we do with Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, A-Rod, etc.?
I mean, it really depends. We could just mention them and just keep it brief. That's what I think we should do.
All right, I'll put it this way then. Do you think they belong in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay, good. A lot of people do. They're like, this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, if you cheat, you do not deserve to be recognized for any accomplishments that you had while cheating.
Exactly.
That is just the reality of it. I mean, McGuire versus Sosa in this, in the one of the greatest summers of baseball ever in the 90s
Yeah.
was awesome for the growth and development of baseball. But at the same time, it was completely manufactured. It was not a legitimate thing. Uh, that being said, the guy was
Exactly.
just popping horse pills full of, steroids because no one cared because he was hitting, balls 9,000 feet out of Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing you have to, I mean, that's the real problem we keep running into with this is what do you do with these guys?
I mean, I still think they would have been good without steroids, but just not as good.
Yeah, I mean, Pirates Bonds was good.
Yes.
Do you mind if I pull up some stats on
Sure.
Barry Bonds when he was in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Same with McGuire in his early years with Oakland.
So in Pittsburgh, he had 176 home runs. So it's across 7 seasons, okay? 176 home runs, 556 ribbies, a 275 batting average, an 883 OPS, and a 147 OPS plus. He was a good above average player
Yeah.
who would have made plenty of money and had a very reputable career. He would not have made the Hall of Fame with those numbers, even if they were extrapolated. He would not have made those numbers,
Yeah.
and he would not have made the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he would have made the Hall of Fame, but he would have come close.
I mean, you put that, across 74 or you let's see. His WAR in Pittsburgh was 50. That's only across 7 years. That's not bad at all.
Exactly.
Um I actually want to just for some reference for you guys. Max Muncy has been in the league for 8 years, right?
I I don't remember him until around 2018.
I'm just okay. Max Muncy has been in the league for 8 years. Sorry, let me just put it that way. That's just what it is. He has been in the league for 8 years. His career WAR is 18. Like
Hmm.
Bonds is 50 in just 7 years, non-steroids, deserves to be recognized.
Yeah.
Um,
Plus, he took the Pirates of all teams to the playoffs 3 straight years.
and heaven knows those Pirates teams sucked.
Yeah.
Also, um, there's some guys who just it's a joke just how comically good their one specific stat is on Baseball Reference. Just seeing Barry Bonds with a 1.4 OPS and a 260 one year and a 268 OPS plus another year. Comical. comical.
That is video game numbers.
Yes. I mean, Pablo Lopez is crying in his dreams, thinking of Barry Bonds
Yeah.
or Pablo Sanchez. Sorry, I don't know what My goodness, I'm losing it. But yeah, Pablo Sanchez is crying in his sleep.
Yeah.
Um, so moving on, let's actually get into your first. Who's your first guy that you think should be in the Hall of Fame currently that isn't?
I'd say Pete Rose. It's time to move on from the whole gambling thing. Now that
Agreed.
gambling's become somewhat more accepted across the country.
Yeah, 100%.
He is the all-time hit leader for a reason, and there's no evidence of him taking any performance enhancing drugs or anything like that.
No, this was just at a time when it was when it was frowned upon to do that. Um,
Yeah.
and that annoys me a lot.
Yeah.
Um, there's also no. Did he ever throw games because of it?
I don't know any of that.
I don't think so. That's my other part of it is like, I mean, how do you justify getting mad at a guy? Like, wasn't he? I think he was betting on himself and his team too,
Yeah.
like incentivizing himself more to do better. That like I don't understand how that could be a punishable offense. I feel like that should be like rewarded for actually betting on yourself.
Yeah.
Like that feels like something we should be congratulating him for is, taking that risk because if that team fails, he loses money and he loses reputation and he loses everything else.
Yeah.
Instead, they go on to win the World Series and he becomes regarded as one of the best catchers of all time.
Yes.
We also talk about how two of the three best catchers in MLB history are both Reds,
Rose and Bench.
Rose and Bench, and then I think Piazza's in there. I mean, I think Piazza's in there, but I mean, it's just up to you what one, two, and I think one, two, and three of that are completely interchangeable, and you could have whatever order of those three you want, but it has to be those three.
Yeah. You could make the argument that that big Red Machine Reds team was perhaps the greatest National League team of all time. Don't want to get too far off track.
There are some Cardinals teams that I think could challenge that,
Yeah.
and some early Giants teams back in New York. Some of the early New York Giants teams I think would challenge that as well.
Sure.
Um, but no, I mean they certainly have to be up there, right?
Among just not great National League teams, but just teams
Teams in
period.
general, yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather have the 27 Yankees, any of the 90s Yankees.
Yeah, I'd rather have the 20s Yankees, somewhat the 90s Yankees, and somewhat pretty much any Yankees team between 1947 and 1964, though.
Yeah. I would take the 80, 89 Athletics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like that team as well. Canseco.
Speaking of Konsenko,
We'll get to him as well. All right, we'll get to him. We'll get to him now. I don't think he should be in, but there are some. He
yeah.
is he in?
I'd also like to see one of those Reds teams against the 2001 Mariners. That would be a fun matchup.
Canseco shouldn't be in. That's just me. You know,
I don't think he should be in either.
and it all comes down to the same old deal, right?
Yeah.
Can I get to my first guy that I really am passionate about dying on a hill on?
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Oh, it's time. It's time to forgive the
The
1919.
1990 there's nothing to forgive. Okay, let me start with the background. As most of you will know, the 1919 Black Sox or the 1919 Chicago White Sox bet against themselves and then through the 1919 World Series, which they then lost to I don't know who they lost to.
Reds.
Okay. Thank you by the way.
Well,
Um they lose to the Reds and it's uncovered and they get in a bunch of trouble. And Shoeless Joe Jackson is a scapegoat because he's the, star ostracized star player, if you will. I think that's the right way I would put it.
yeah.
Um, when I don't think there was actually ever any evidence of him being involved in this whatsoever.
Exact. Yeah. I there's not a lot of evidence of him involved in the whole thing as well.
Um, what I'd like to see, if I can, I'm gonna try to pull up his the stats from that.
Yeah.
Um,
I found somewhere that there was a trade proposal during that 1919 offseason that would have sent Shoeless Joe Jackson to the Red Sox for Babe Ruth.
wow,
Imagine if that happened.
wow, jeez. Um,
Massive butterflies.
but he has 340. He has a 345 batting average. Sorry, this is across his two World Series appearances. Pop quiz. What was the other one?
1917?
Yep, there you go, against the New York Giants. Um, Across those two series, he has a 345 batting average, 368 on base, 455 slugging for an 823 OPS. Um, which to me, it's like, how can you blame the guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And I
this dude
believe
was playing out of his mind.
he also hit the only home run of that 1919 World Series by either team.
Like, exactly. Like, how can we say that the guy was trying to throw the game or anything else and blame him for the transgressions of others? Just
Yeah.
because a guy 100 years, like I'm pretty sure the commissioner had a personal vendetta against him. Like I believe I heard something about that. That's why he was the main face of that.
Yeah. And it's
And one guy's vendetta 100 years ago is what ruins this guy's Hall of Fame chances. That is bogus.
it's a disgrace.
Who's your next guy?
My next guy is would be Kurt Schilling.
This is one that I've wanted to get into.
I mean, yeah, he's one of if not the greatest postseason pitcher of the 2000s.
Yeah. Um, I like to say this. I don't agree with so he's gotten into a lot of problems over his anti-Muslim comments and some other things that he said on air
Yeah,
that got him pulled off of ESPN television.
yeah,
But that being said, I don't think that he should be punished for that kind of thing. Because other guys have had other scandals surrounding them, like other off the,
I mean, Rogers Hornsby was rumored to be in the KKK, and yet he's in with no problem.
now he was also inducted, he was also inducted when the KKK was still a socially acceptable thing.
Yeah,
Um, he was inducted in 1942. So yeah,
yeah. Even though the KKK was dying out by then.
yeah. That's a different topic for a different podcast. Oh boy, I do not want to delve into that. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I wouldn't touch it with a 100-foot pole.
Amen. Um, that being said, no, like players don't get punished for off the field stuff unless so the only things that people really get ostracized for are gambling and like steroids.
Yeah,
That's it. So I don't understand like Kurt Schilling's absence. Like you can't put your own personal political bias on like I would like to say this. I detest Kurt Schilling.
yeah,
I hate the guy because of what he has said. He is a terrible human being. That being
exactly.
said, the Hall of Fame is way too subjective, and we need to start even more objectively looking at the facts of the matter. And for this, we can see that Kurt Schilling is, bar none, one of the greatest postseason pitchers. Period.
Yes,
Well, however much I hate the guy, absolutely hate him, he deserves to be in it.
I cannot stand him either, but he should be in for sure.
We cannot let these other things, you know, cloud our judgment.
Yeah,
Um, The next guy that I want to go with is a personal choice, but Todd Helton.
Oh, no question, he should be in.
This boy is solely not in off of the Coors bias, which doesn't make sense anymore because Larry Walker is in.
He was an Expo and a Cardinal, but
Exactly.
mostly a Rocky.
Um, he was a Cardinal for like a season, so that doesn't really count.
I know he played for them when they went to the World Series in 2004, but that
Um,
I think is
no,
only
help, no. Oh, Walker, yeah, Walker played for the Cardinals in '04 at the very end of his career, but Helton was a lifelong Rocky.
yeah.
But he has better away statistics than many current Hall of Famers, including last year's inductee Scott Rowland. So the Coors effect is a thing that guys have made up in their mind as an excuse to not put people into the Hall of Fame. And the guy suffering from that right now is Todd Helton for no justifiable reason. This guy was unstoppable. Unstoppable. I mean, 592 doubles alone. I mean, come on.
Gotta have that
As a
guy.
first as a first baseman too, might I remind you.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy was untouchable for so long. And then people just said, "Oh yeah, we just don't care about him anymore." Like that's not how this works. You don't get to do it like that. If you're gonna let Larry Walker in and ignore the Coors bias there, you can't reinstate a Coors bias for Todd Hilton.
yeah,
That's the first prop. That's first, foremost, and last.
yeah. If heck, if you don't want Hall of Famers that played in Coors, why even have a team there?
That's another good point.
Yeah,
That is a very good point. I hadn't even thought about that, to be honest with you.
yeah.
All right. Who's your next guy?
Hmm. Well, this is a tough one. Gonna. Uh, oh, I honestly didn't really do much preparation for this. Not gonna.
Yeah. All right, I have a couple more guys, and I want you to, kind of give your thoughts on it, as we go. Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, he deserves to be in. One of the best players of our generation.
So, what has the guy not done that, has gotten everybody mad at him? I guess that's kind of my question where I want to start with this is what is holding him back, do you think?
I think the fact that he just played on bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, he was with the '05 to '09 Mariners, the late '90s, early 2000s Dodgers. And then Boston in 2010. I mean, 2010 Boston would have been good, right?
I mean, they missed the playoffs, but still had a very solid season.
And then he was with Texas from 11 to 18. So he was on a World Series team.
Yeah, but a combined zero playoff appearances in the first few years of his first decade of his a combined
Yeah.
one, I should say. Dodgers made the playoffs in '04.
Yeah. And they didn't make it other than that, though.
Yeah, I do have one that did come up for me for non Hall of Famers.
All right. Give it to me.
Furman Munson. I mean, he was one of as someone who is a Red Sox fan, he was one of the great Yankee captains out there.
Yeah.
Played on three World Series teams, two-time champ, one of the most underrated catchers ever. Shame he had his career cut short.
Yeah. I think it's, in all honesty, just the, I mean, it's just the lack. I mean, honestly, if I had to point to something, it's probably the lack of home runs. If I had to point to anything, like any one specific number, he has 113 career home runs.
Not much, but some guys back in the 1800s hit 0 home runs in their entire career, and they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. He was also playing though in an era that allowed it. So
Yeah.
um that is an interesting one though, because what do you do with that one?
Yeah. I mean,
Um
who
oh
knows
sorry.
what would have happened had he not died early?
Yes. Um I want to go through a couple that are recently enough retired that they haven't been Hall of Fame eligible yet, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
And first and foremost for me is Ichiro.
Yeah. He
I mean, I don't think there's a debate either.
greatest Japanese player of all time. No doubt.
For now.
Yeah, Otani would definitely might take that mantle in a couple years.
It just depends on Otani's longevity because, I mean, Ichiro was good from 2001. I mean, up until about
Until
2012 at the very least. So,
yeah,
guy won MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same year.
on a team that won 116 games, no less.
He had a 350 batting average. He had 372 in 04.
Yeah, most hits in a season by a player.
Yeah. Um, Kind of transitioning a little bit, but still keeping on the Hall of Fame topic. Who are some of the guys that are currently playing that but you think should make it?
Well, I'd say Clayton Kershaw, can't ignore his stats.
Miggy,
Miguel Cabrera,
Trout,
Trout, Jacob
Max
DeGrom,
Scherzer,
Max Scherzer,
Justin
Jake
Verlander.
Verlander,
Okay,
Jacob Jacob
I'm
DeGrom.
I'm gonna give you two guys. One of them is DeGrom.
Greatest pitcher ever when he's healthy.
There's the key. And the other one, hear me out on this. Aroldis Chapman.
Hmm. AKA Man Who Smiles.
What do we do with Aroldis Chapman?
I mean, that man had two of the clutchest relief appearances in World Series history, yet always remembered for his allowing clutch playoff home runs.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I feel like he's not a Hall of Famer, but there's part of me that's pushing me to say like he should be like on his last ballot, there should be like one final like remembrance push to give him the like that'll give him the bid. Like I feel like something like that is going to happen.
Yeah,
Um
I do have a
Strasburg, probably not.
yeah, somewhat Madison Bumgarner.
Yes.
Who else is near the end of their career?
Much as I want to, Felix won't get it.
Probably not.
Hmm.
Should members of the 2017 Astros still get in? That's another tough one.
No, I mean it's the same steroids issue. You cheat, you use something else to do it. You don't get it. Just simple as that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they should all. I mean, 2022 still counts in my book, though.
Yeah. Um, you wonder. You really do wonder, what they're going to do with that. This is the team that has made 3 World Series in 6 years
Yeah,
or 5 years. Yeah, 5, 6 years. They've been one of the most dominant teams for about 6 years now.
and yet that's what everyone's going to remember 50 years from
Yep.
now.
You wonder. You do wonder because I mean, Altuve, Correa. Outside of that, not much. Garrett Cole. There's another one.
Yeah,
Ooh, 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 ooh. Another good
Zach
one.
Greinke.
He
There's
is in. Andrew McCutchen.
hmm. That's definitely a
I'm
border.
putting him in. Maybe that's just my bias and just, the good memories I have of McCutchen absolutely,
Right.
being an absolute Pittsburgh icon. I mean, he is the ultimate, symbol of Yinzers.
Yeah. Another one that has to be in Albert Pujols.
Yes, easy. No contest. Wayno has to be in. Yachty has to be in.
Yeah, it's
Nelson
insane. The
Cruz?
Cruz, Nelson Cruz definitely has the argument.
Um,
Robinson
Ro-
Cano, I
no.
don't think so. No.
Cheating. PEDs twice.
No.
Um, Brandon
Joey
Crawford.
Votto,
Brandon Crawford. Brandon
Brandon.
Crawford for sure.
Yeah,
Brandon Belt, maybe.
yeah.
Joey Votto, no, unfortunately.
How does Justin not like the dude?
That's what I don't understand is it's like, Justin doesn't like him simply off of the fact that he is a good red. That's the only reason it doesn't like him.
Yeah. And the
Are there
Reds
any
and
members of
Cubs have when was the last time the Reds Cubs rivalry mattered?
the 70s, the 80s, maybe?
Yeah.
Eh,
They were in separate
but maybe a
divisions from
little bit in
six
the early 2010s, maybe a little bit.
maybe. They were in separate divisions from 69 to 93, so it's not like
Yeah.
there's any history there.
Um, they have never played in a playoff. They've never played a playoff series against each other, interestingly.
Yeah.
I did not expect that, to be honest with you. Um, hmm, weird.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess the next question is looking to the far, far future, who are some young guys that you think are going to make it in the end?
Julio Rodriguez, Adley Rutschman, Shohei Otani.
He's not young, but yeah.
Who else? Uh, uh, Ronald Acuna, bald one. Pete Alonso. No?
The guy wins home run derbies. That's all he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he has not been. I mean, he had this rookie of the year campaign, but since then, all that he has done is do that.
Yeah. Juan Soto, definitely.
Yes.
Maybe Fernando Tatis Jr.
Nope. PEDs.
Oh yeah, Pete. Who are hmm. Paul Goldschmidt.
Not young, but I think so. That's a hard one. That is a very difficult one for me to try to work through on that one.
Yeah. A somewhat recently retired one, but a good debate. Ryan Zimmerman.
I was gonna think about. I was just thinking about asking you about that. I don't think so.
He's
I mean, the guy's forever gonna
borderline.
be a Washington legend. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Strasburg's in that. I think Strasburg's in that same stratosphere there.
perhaps the most hyped player ever, but I don't think he's getting in.
No. Um, I think we should create a hall right now. We're gonna create a hall of very good.
Yes.
I think Ryan Zimmerman and Steven Strasburg are, there from the Nationals first and foremost.
Yeah.
Um, the Marlins don't have anybody.
No.
The best Marlins players are better known for being good elsewhere.
Yeah. Though I could just give one to the late great Jose Fernandez because who knows what happens if he doesn't die.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Shout out.
Yeah. The Mets, that's another tough one.
The Mets. Okay, I got a question. How good was Bobby Bonilla actually?
I mean, I think he's been linked to PEDs.
Well, I mean, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. By the way, the Rockies are winning. It's the middle of the first, and they already jerked some Profar to homer to left field. Love that.
Who are they playing?
They're playing in Cleveland.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Phillies are another team that has some good guys. I'm sure Bryce Harper will be in there,
yep.
despite him being overrated by pretty
Is
much.
Ryan Howard in the Hall?
I don't think so,
Here, I got it. 1 second. Let me look.
since he could be in our Hall of Very Good.
Yep, he'll be in our Hall of Very Good.
I am to this day I am still shocked of how those 2007 to 2011 era Phillies didn't win more than one World Series. Those teams were just so consistent.
Yeah, but here we are.
Yeah.
Um, Hall of Very Good. Dante Bichette.
Oh yeah.
Another guy. I absolutely hate the guy for what he did off the field.
Now I have to know. Can you tell me what he did after we're done?
Yeah, sure. For those of you watching, you can go look it up. It's been mentioned on the podcast. Me personally, I don't feel comfortable talking about it on the podcast. It's some messed up stuff. So go seek that out if you want to. But
Bo's dad, I assume.
yes. Um, and I'll talk about that.
Is Andreas Galarraga in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to run for that think 95 Rockies
Yep.
team that made the playoff.
I think we made the NLCS that year.
You lost to the Braves in the NLDS.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Only time you've won an actual playoff series was 2007.
A series, yes. Playoff games, no.
Yeah. You should just every time you see Justin bring up the 2018 wildcard game.
It's good practice. Yeah. 3-1 win for the Braves over the Rockies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of unfair because you're playing,
The
like
greatest pitching team ever assembled.
the greatest. Yeah. I mean, what were we supposed to do against that Braves team? I mean, they won the World Series that year with Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, and Steve Avery, who
Yeah.
gets completely misregarded. And I mean, um, Mark Wohlers, 1995. Mark Wohlers, the closer, he had an ERA plus of 204.
Wow.
Greg Maddox's stat line from this season is one of the greatest pitching stat lines I've seen since Old Haas Radborn.
Oh, I know who that is.
Um, Maddox, Maddox had a 260 ERA plus, which means he was 160% better than the average MLB player in 1995. I mean, that is absurd.
Jeez.
I mean, just on another tier.
Yeah.
It's hard to give any credit to anybody else other than that.
Yeah.
Um, those of you who don't know, in 1884, Old Haas Radborn was like selected to pitch the majority of his team's games because another guy got drunk and got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
So he wins 60 games with a 1.38 ERA, 73 complete games. He completed all 73 of his starts. He pitched 678 innings and 441 strikeouts and a 205 ERA plus.
Strange but true.
Yes, his you know the least number of games that he played in a season that he pitched in a season
Tell me.
was 24 in the
Whoa.
era of load management. And my arm feels funny.
Yeah. I have seen the foolish baseball video about him. Very well done video. I
Go check it
recommend.
out if you have not. Go check it out. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this has been good going through this Hall of Fame journey with you. By the way, Old Hoss Radborn, Hall of Famer,
As he should be.
as he should be. Um, by the way, Hall of Irrelevant, Hall of Irrelevant, but like players that I fondly remember for really, odd reasons. D. Gordon,
Oh yeah.
completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of like the baseball verse. But I love D. Gordon.
One of the good guys.
Gerardo Parra. There's just some random ones that I can pick out throughout the years.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we look forward to seeing how this next Hall of Fame round goes. Upcoming in December, right? That's when that happens.
I believe so.
Hopefully by that time Helton will be in there finally. He deserves it.
I'm rooting for him.
Um, Another guy that won't get in, Ryan Braun. Some more other cheating stuff.
Yeah.
There's just so many of those. It's wild. I mean, just how much cheating it goes on with this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like you forget. I mean, just how prevalent cheating is in baseball. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of the reality of it.
Yeah. I
What's the
was
old What's the old saying though?
you
If you
cheat.
ain't cheating,
If you ain't cheating,
you ain't trying.
you ain't trying.
So, take that as you will. Obviously, it shouldn't apply to, guys who are trying to knowingly disrupt the game. But, hey, if you're playing, a video game against your, sibling or your friend or a parent, and you decide, all right, I just want to hit some, you're playing the show, you decide, all right, I just want to hit some absolute swamp donkeys. Some cheating's allowed. It's fine.
Yeah.
But don't cheat if you're going to be in the majors. Just don't do it. I mean, they do drug tests for a reason. Don't do it. Don't try to be the cool kid who's gonna. Oh, I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the one they're not gonna detect. Don't try to be that
Be
guy. Play by the rules.
be who you are.
Eat your vegetables.
Yeah.
Do all the right things, and maybe you can become an MLB player. All right, there's my sales pitch for the day. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. Eli, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
All righty, and ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next week. Peace.